Hey guys, Javier here with The Real Javier Novoa, a channel, a platform, and a modality where we apply the principles of interiorism to rapid lifestyle transformation, and interspersed here between the deep dives that we're going into, that we have some exciting deep dives coming up this next week in the series on what is interiorism. We're going to go into the scientific evidences behind interiorism. I'm still putting that together, and I'm excited about presenting that. We want to start giving you just some on-the-ground principles, not deep dives, but just principles that you could take immediately and apply. And one of them was inspired to me by reading a great content creator's post here on the YouTube community. And I just wanted to discuss this a little bit. This is in the context of problems, guys, and all of the tools, all of the techniques, and we're going to be getting deeper into why these techniques work tomorrow. I was inspired. Basically, I had a download in meditation, and I'm going to give that information in the next video coming up, hopefully tomorrow. It's going to be a game changer for understanding how to apply processes and why processes work. But just a simple two-step process, guys, that's going to really up your game in solving problems. All of this is for solving problems. The problem with problems is that a lot of problems have been with us for a long time. They're issues that we haven't dealt with that are sort of festering. So a lot of our first inclinations when dealing with problems is to go deep and to journal. And I love journaling. I journal a lot, and I journal around problems a lot. And sometimes you need to get to the core aspects of these problems so that you can solve them, because of course if you find the cause, then you can solve the problem. It's what a lot of psychotherapy goes into. It's what a lot of techniques that we've taught on this channel go into. But sometimes, guys, sometimes you have to let the problem dissolve. And you can dissolve the problem by going up on the emotional scale. All of this is true because we learned from Abraham Hicks there is an emotional scale. And what you have to understand for this process and this technique is the emotional scale is physiological. It manifests in the physical. So it's not just mental. It's not just spiritual, although everything is spiritual, but we're talking about now in the 3D, in the game. It's very physical, and therefore it can react to mental stimuli, and it can also react to physical stimuli. I hope you understand me just a little bit. So the Abraham Hicks emotional scale, with depression at the bottom and happiness and exhilaration and love on the top, guys. So understand this, visualize the scale. We've done videos about it before. You can Google the Abraham Hicks emotional scale. Here's the thing. Problems as they're usually defined, and we can define them differently. I love solving problems. Math problems, business problems, those are fun. I'm not categorizing them in the category that we're using today that we're calling problems. Problems that I'm talking about in this video are things that really have you weighed down, things that you feel negative emotion from, things that you feel threatened by. So problems cannot exist when you're on the upper levels of the emotional scale from that definition. So a lot of our inclinations in this work of self-development, self-help, and perhaps in our work of getting free, living free, our inclinations is to go into journaling. And I love journaling. We teach journaling. But as Abraham Hicks has even talked about, you don't want to do anything from the lower part of the scale. You don't want to journal from the lower part of the scale because it could have the effect of moving you up the scale. But let's face it, for most of us, what's usually going to do is just have us dig in and feel worse. I've done it, guys. I've tried to struggle against these. I've tried to solve things through journaling. You can do it, like I said. I've even tried to solve things through making videos and talking about it. But at the end of the day, there's an easier way. One of these ways is the very simple two-step technique that we're going to be showing you, and then we're going to be telling you why. So the first step, when you have a problem, when you're upset, when you're feeling a little bit depressed or sad or down, any of those guys, we talk about the fact that you already have your desires created and manifested on a film roll. So it doesn't matter how you feel here, you're going to eventually get what you want on this film roll. That's a promise. But why accept bad feeling at all, guys? And why go through your daily life in negative emotion, suffering that, and having to then go through that, and then having to do vibrational work later, when you can head it off with a simple technique that we're about to give you? Think about that. And you're free to use the technique or not. You're free to experiment with it. But this is an amazing technique. I'm going to tell you what it is. Then we're going to read something very quick from Tim Ferriss. I'm going to explain to you why it works. It's a two-step technique to solving any problem, to getting out of a funk, to getting out of depression or sadness or anger, frustration, or anything like that. The first is to ask yourself, guys, if I have this problem or depression or anxiety, where is that coming from? Where am I feeling it most? Is it from a thought or is it from a feeling? Now, it's always going to be about thoughts and feelings. But most of the time, if we look at our most persistent problems and our most persistent negative emotions, you're going to feel it very strongly in the body if you pay attention. I want you to drop down your body and feel that. And I want you to see the thoughts associated with it. So what you're going to realize is that, yes, this is mostly physical. Again, if you have a problem or a challenge that's on the upper parts of the scale, that means your body's going to feel either relatively neutral or you're going to feel good and excited about it. Then that's not the kind of problem that we're talking about in this video. So first, identify what kind of problem it is. If it's a problem from the lower end of the scale, again, you're going to feel anxiety, depression, something like this. Then you'll know that it's a problem that can be dealt with by this process. The second thing you do, guys, resort to a physical tool that's going to shake you out of that. There are many techniques, guys, depending on where you are. You can get up and dance. You can go exercise. You can do a couple of push-ups. You can jog. What I love doing is the Wim Hof method, whether it's breathing or whether it's actually taking a cold shower. This will snap you out of it. There are certain foods that you can eat, guys, like macadamia nuts, like fresh vegetables, like a good cold glass of water, that will take you out of this. Even Abraham Hicks talks about this. Shake it up and change it up. Joe Dispenza says the best way to get into a new vibration is to just simply shake up routines and shake up vibrations. So this is the simple two-step process, guys. Figure out if this problem is coming from physical negative emotion, and then physically go do something to shake it up. And I wanted to read this great post by Tim Ferriss. He says, Tony Robbins believes that in a lowered emotional state, we only see the problems, not solutions. Goes back to the Abraham Hicks emotional scale. If you're on the bottom of that emotional scale, you can't see the solution. Why? You don't have vibrational access to it. Let's say you wake up feeling tired and overwhelmed. I know a lot of us can identify with this, especially those of you who are working in jobs that you don't necessarily want to work at. You sit down to brainstorm strategies to solve your issues. This is where we go, guys. We journal, we brainstorm. But it comes to naught and you feel even worse afterwards. This is because you started in a negative state. You always want to start in a positive state if you can. That's why we recommend meditating the moment you wake up in the morning. Then attempted strategy, but didn't succeed due to tunnel vision on the problems. Because if you're in a lower emotional scale, what can you only get? Something that vibrationally matches that, and then you just have tunnel vision. And then likely told yourself self-defeating stories. I always do this. Why am I so wound up? I can't even think straight. You're now telling negative narratives. To fix this, he encourages you to prime your state first. The biochemistry will help you proactively tell yourself an enabling story. Only then do you think on strategy. It's what we've always advised on this channel, guys. As you'll see the options instead of dead ends. So if you get yourself into a more positive state, physiologically, mentally, then you can strategize because you will have the emotional bandwidth to see the options there. Priming my state, what as Tony Robbins calls it, is often as simple as doing 5 to 10 push-ups or getting 20 minutes of sun exposure. There are many strategies that we'll talk about in other videos as to how you can actually, shall we say, optimize your physiological state. I often ask myself, is this really a problem I need to think my way out of? Tim Ferriss is saying. Or is it possible I just need to fix my biochemistry? I've wasted a lot of time journaling on problems, and you see, you don't want to journal on problems, you want to journal on the solutions, which may be termed as problems, but it's a different definition of that word. Hope you understand me just a little bit. This is my commentary. Back to Tim. I've wasted a lot of time on journaling on problems when I just needed to eat breakfast sooner, do 10 push-ups, or get an extra hour of sleep. Take care of your sleep, guys, also. Just as an aside, we'll talk about that in other videos as well. Sometimes you think you have to figure out your life's purpose, Tim Ferriss says, but you really just need some macadamia nuts and a cold effing shower. Take this technique and run with it, guys. Take a cold shower, do the breathing, have some macadamia nuts, do whatever physiological exercise or tool shakes you out of that vibration. Oftentimes you'll find when you shake yourself out of that vibration, your cork will just rise, as Abraham Hicks talks about, and then the solutions will be there. The problem will simply disappear, and you'll realize that you never really had a problem in the first place. The only problems we're meant to have, guys, are fun problems, challenging problems, problems that we create and set the barriers and boundaries. And that's one of the key definitions of this channel, guys. What work do we have to do? We should never do work that's forced, or that comes from a place of negative emotion, or that comes from a place of anxiety. The only work that we should do is work that comes from a place of creativity, work that comes from a place of love, work that comes from a place of knowing and of excitement. You can do that simply by implementing some very easy strategies, physical strategies, guys, but you have to break that barrier of procrastination, and you have to just go and do it. Take that cold shower, eat that breakfast, get some sleep for heaven's sake, and meditate, guys. And I promise you, all of whatever you call your problems, most of them will dissolve, and the others will lend themselves to a very easy solution. So, hope you enjoy our videos, guys. If you enjoy the content on the channel, please subscribe and like. Hit that bell button so that you could get alerts for all of our videos coming out. Share the videos with family and friends, and also I am doing coaching calls. I can walk you step by step through this modality. We can help you get free. We can give you a time frame for that, steps, a little bit of accountability for me, and communication. So I will put my email in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. We are going on the roads tomorrow. For the weekend, we're going to our second headquarters in the beautiful Galveston, Texas. We will be releasing videos from there, so I hope you join me. Till very soon, guys, this is Javier with The Real Javier Novoa. Have a wonderful evening.